We're testing two white spill sheets versus the Husky Polyback oil spill filter pad. We're using transformer oil in each of these. It's about 2 tablespoons. It is 2 tablespoons, which represents at 1 drip of oil per minute. It represents about 7 hours worth of dripping at 1 drip of oil per minute. So I'm going to start with the one on my right, which is an unbonded, lightweight, sort of standard, the least expensive oil spill sheet on the market. And I'm slowly introducing it as if this was a drip. But normally this would be taking place at about a drip a minute. If it was a bleeder, it would be going 2 or 3 drips a minute. But this simulates sort of a slow, steady drip in one spot. Now, over the course of 7 hours at 1 drip a minute, these 2 tablespoons of transformer oil would be dripping onto this one spot. So I'm taking a little more time, being a little more deliberate. If this was happening within 7 hours, it would all hit exactly in one spot. But there's 2 tablespoons on the lightweight. This is a medium weight, bonded, meaning it's got the ultrasonic bonds that hold multiple layers of the white fibers together. And I'm doing the same thing. I'm putting 2 tablespoons of dielectric fluid mineral oil. We've colored it so that you can see what's going on, and we're allowing it to just gently drip into one spot in about the dead center. And you can see it wicks out somewhat, and it's pooling a little, but we're going to finish that off. Circle's a little tighter on that one. And then here's our Spiltration Husky Polyback with the durable plastic backing. And you can see I can pour a lot faster, and it disappears a lot more quickly. And essentially, this is still pooled up a little bit in there, which says to me there's oil underneath that's pushing back and keeping some static pressure on it. But we're not going to just guess, we're going to see for sure. So I have white indicator absorbent sheets underneath to see how much of it got through. And in this case, as you can see, they're almost mirror images of one another. I forget what the psychologists call this kind of test, but what do you see there? I see Mr. Sun or Mr. Moon during an eclipse. What will happen as more oil hits that spot, up to 70% of the oil will go through the fibers. As you can see with the heavyweight material, it's not quite as dramatic yet with 2 teaspoons, but it's still going through. And then with our Spiltration Husky material, with the poly backing, you can see that there is a slight discoloration on the underside of the plastic, but nothing on the sheet. That's because it's all staying in here. And because this is 4 times thicker than this and 8 times thicker than this, it can handle many, many more times of the oil. We're going to go back and do a little cutaway, and we're going to put 2 more tablespoons in each one and see what happens. Hey, we're back again. We already put 2 tablespoons of mineral oil on each of the 3 spill materials here. Lightweight white spill sheet, medium weight white spill sheet with bonding, and the heavyweight Polyback Husky material. And this is made, as you can see, with 100% post-consumer waste recycled material. This is all made with virgin stuff. This has no polymer backing on it, so the oil goes through. This has a heavy-duty polymer backing on it to prevent the oil from going through. So we've already added what would be equivalent to 7 hours worth of drips at 1 drip a minute. So we're going to do the same thing as if another 7 hours of drips happen in one spot here. I'm going to try to go a little slow because it wouldn't normally come out that fast on a job site. But the first thing you're going to notice is that the size of the circle is not increasing that much. It's increasing somewhat because we're getting some wicking action. But you also notice that the oil is pooling up more dramatically. And that's because with the thickness of these pads, the oil has nowhere to go. Gravity is pulling on it and pulling it down. The wicking action is helping somewhat, but as you can see, this is still very pulled up on there. That's still semi-pulled. And you'll notice, because of the way we engineered the fibers in the polyback husky pad, it disappears almost instantly. Now that's a good part of what's going on here. And we're going to look and see what the best part is. And that is, well, not so much for these guys. This stuff is still soaking wet. This wicked out a little, but according to the Rorschach test, not only do we have mirror images of one another with a solar eclipse that happens in the southern hemisphere, I believe that's what this looks like. You can see they're almost identical in size, and the sheet on the bottom is very oily. In other words, if that was the ground beneath your property, that oil would be sinking into the ground and then eventually being carried away with rainwater. Here, we still have some pools down in those little ultrasonic dimples because they're non-absorbent. It's basically melted plastic that's melted with ultrasound. But as you can see on the Rorschach image, it's almost exactly the same size. And I don't know if you can see the shininess down below, but the material below is really soaking wet. And here with the Spiltration Husky Polyback, we do have a little image on the back, but thanks to the polymer backing, the image is being held inside, all the oil is being held inside, the ground beneath is totally protected. And we could do this for up to, in this case, we've already failed the test. Here, we can do this up to about 64 ounces before the oil wants to ooze out the side of this 16 by 16 pad. So about a half gallon in here, whereas we failed at 4 teaspoons over here.